You're welcome to the Pioneer STEM Show. My name is Choma Umolaye, and with me as always is
David Adeosun.
Absolutely. This is a show where we showcase activities, personalities around science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so thank you for keeping a date with us today.
Yes.
So David, what's up? What's cooking?
Check.
You didn't check what's cooking? So you, our audience, please tell us what's cooking in the STEM world, because we're always relying on David to tell us what's cooking. But I mean, there's a lot cooking. I mean, if you search it, you will see a lot going on in tech field, both good, bad, and ugly. And so on the Pioneer STEM Show, we choose to showcase the good part of tech. People, young techies, young professionals who are doing stuff around the STEM ecosystem. And today, the topic of discussion, and we'll be having a guest on that, Mr. Emmmanuel, will be on blockchain. I mean, myself and David were like, that's true. I'm not sure we know a lot about blockchain. And yes, we don't need to know everything, right? And so we're happy to be graced with the presence of Mr. Emmmanuel. You get to meet him after we return from this short break. Stay with us and learn. Welcome back to the Pioneer STEM Show. And like we promised, we have Emmmanuel Awokoya.
Yes.
Did I get it?
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yoruba,
right.
Igbo, so it's a
You
mix.
are, so you can understand why I'm struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
With the
Awokoya. So
Awokoya. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming at a short time notice.
Exactly.
All right. So you're here to do one big job, right? Apart from educating us here in the studio, there are millions of Nigerians watching and they want to understand blockchain. But before we get into that, could you tell us a bit more about yourself, what you do, what your journey has been like?
My name is Emmmanuel Awokoya. I'm actually a graduate of University of Maiduguri.
Wow.
Afterwards, I've dived into entrepreneurship. And right now, I'm actually the chief evangelist for Chekkit app, which is like a logistic company. We use, that's where I'll talk about blockchain. Yeah. So my journey has been, engineering, entrepreneurship, telecommunication.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a whole lot.
But I did a lot on finance as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about chief evangelist, that's a subtle way to say CEO.
Yeah, chief evangelist actually, it's derived from the first person that used the name was Gay Kizosaki. Is the one that actually evangelized Apple very much to the world.
Okay.
So he made the Macintosh very popular. You know, the fight between Macintosh and Microsoft and Windows then. So it's Gay. So I like the way he went about doing it. And my dad happened to be a missionary, so I understand the idea of evangelizing.
Yes.
So, and right now I want to evangelize Chekkit to Africa, and actually we're also doing it across the world.
Okay, that's great. And congratulations on leading in that journey.
Yes.
All right, so back to the crux of the matter. Could you tell us what blockchain is about?
Yeah.
Like you're talking to
a child, right?
A child.
Yeah, a 5 years old. But a 5-year-old will not understand blockchain. But at the same time,
I see.
Blockchain came about when everybody's after the recession of 2028, yes, the recession.
2008?
Yes, 2008.
Okay.
So everybody was concerned that, okay, we cannot all rely on the government. So distrust started increasing in the government, right?
Okay.
And before now, we all have technology.
Yes.
We all have finance. We all have legal. But blockchain tries to merge the legal, finance, and technology in a very interesting way. Legal, finance, and technology.
Wow, that's a very powerful
So it's a hard thing to do because the legal people dictate policies, dictate rules, dictate laws. finance says how money moves.
Yeah.
Then technology actually rewrite the codes.
That's
so
right.
we actually, I think technology is more of we automate or we make things just efficient.
That's right.
So what is then the blockchain? The blockchain is actually it's like an advanced database
Okay.
that has people. It's a mix of cryptography
That is
and
another
all
big
those things.
big word.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it's like data needs to be automated. It need to be authenticated by anonymous people, right?
Anonymous people or anonymous
yes,
system?
Anonymous people owning systems.
Okay, continue.
Yes.
All right.
Right? So, such that any transaction can be authenticated by a node independently, such that at the end of the day, you say, I have sent you $1.
Yeah.
And I put it on the chain. So it's a chain. So since it's a chain, imagine a chain. A chain is something that moves, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Right? So
and it doesn't
every
break.
block, yes, it doesn't break.
Yeah.
And every node has almost the whole history of whatever has happened on the chain, such that because it's living on the internet, such that nobody can actually be autocratic on the whole transaction. Why was that? Because we started distrusting our governments. Right? So every node must validate every transaction. Of course, that brings problem of scalability. That's why the Bitcoin itself suffers from problem of scalability.
Okay.
That's why we have something like Ethereum and we have other lighting networks and all of the other jargons. But the blockchain just brings in something: transparency, anonymity. Sorry, I used to struggle with English.
Transparency and anonymity.
Yes, and security.
Also,
such that it's not now First Bank that owns the whole transaction and it lives only on First Bank's database. So now First Bank needs to share with Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank needs to share with Access Bank. Access Bank needs to share with Fidelity Bank. So all the banks know what is happening on that chain. Then now, me as an independent person, I want to see a particular transaction that has occurred. I can just go to what we call the chain and see, did Mr. Emmmanuel send $1 to Mrs. Chioma? And I just go to the chain and I see it. Yes, that was a transaction that occurred. So that makes it that I can check transactions. I don't have to depend on a bank manager to see whether, that transaction was valid or it was not valid. So now we also solve a bit of security. All these things whereby we hear, there is one fraudulent person, he stole one money, he moved out. No. The bankers know.
Yes,
they know what transaction has occurred. The only thing that is happening is that you are not privy to that information.
Oh, wow.
Because there is layer and autocracy and bureaucracy of information. So you cannot see that information. But blockchain brings in transparency. So even somebody with his little computer access to the blockchain can see every transaction. That's why we have very funny things like even the guys with the two brothers that started the idea of Facebook, that became one of the pioneers of blockchain. And also, actually, Elon Musk, Tesla, you can actually see when he buys Bitcoin. You can actually see when he sells it. That's why the moment he sold it back in 2021, Bitcoin dropped. Because everybody is like, whoa, why is Elon Musk selling his Bitcoin? There must be something happening. Let us all sell.
So everybody gets to see everybody's account. Is that security? Like I get to see how.
Then you don't know what is my address. You don't know actually on what transaction I'm doing because I don't put my name on an address.
Okay.
So it's just recently that we have other blockchain technology that is now trying to attach persons to address. They're now removing away isolation from who owns what. Because
Now,
the government want to control.
I understand.
Yes.
And thank you. And thank you for going the Bitcoin way and all that.
Yeah.
So blockchain is almost like AI, can be applied almost in every field,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Could you break it down, maybe look for a very relatable field? I know you have mentioned
Sure.
first the banking sector.
Sure.
Can you mention one or two more relatable fields just
Yes.
to emphasize?
Very interestingly,
Yeah.
we are applying it in a very interesting way,
Yeah.
which is supply chain and
Okay.
logistics. So the pharmaceutical industry, the people that do cosmetics, the people that do fast-moving products, they move their products into the market. They can't control who is counterfeiting what.
They can't control who is counterfeiting what.
Because they can have a plant now in Udumota or Ikorodu,
yes,
producing flour mill. Flour mill, for instance, producing Indomie.
All right.
But somebody can sit at Festac, produce the same flour mill, get the same pack, get even the ingredients in which you produce the Indomie, and produce it almost exactly, and then just package it and start selling it in Festac. Flour mill will never know that exactly the same Indomie is being sold in Festac.
Because there's nothing to
now they are forced
differentiate.
They are forced to send their salespeople go into all these markets
and
investigate
field work and
what's
lot
happening.
Of labor.
I know I'm having this idea. The CEO or the person in charge of marketing is having this idea. Oh, there's a lot of Indomie in the market, but when I look at my revenue, it's not corresponding to the distribution.
I understand. I can.
Yes. So now, how does this blockchain come into play? Every product is registered on the chain.
Okay, and this chain is an
it's
app.
Authentic. Yes. So so it's an application. It's a software.
Okay, great.
So what we then do is that when we get our customer, what we tell them to do is you have to make us register all your product, batch your product for you. Okay. So once we batch your product, they are now automatically on the chain.
So by now, batching, what do you mean? So give it some specific.
Batching your product means that we give it a batch number.
Okay, so we give it a code, numbers also.
Right? So that code is generated from the chain.
Okay.
So just like the address that I told you about, the address from the bank.
Yes.
So that address is encoded on the product. It's unique to that product.
Just so right that single product.
Exactly. So when it ends up in Festac, all what we want to do is we make sure that more people get Chekkit app on their phones.
All right.
So all what you need to do is you want to check whether this paracetamol is actually from the real company. You just use your app.
All right.
Then there is a code that is what we call we use another technology to make sure that it's chipped, just like recharge cards.
Okay, so it's sealed.
Yes, it's sealed.
So you have to scratch or
when you scratch, because it's a product you bought.
Yeah.
So you scratch it, then you use the app to scan it.
For authenticity.
Automatically you do authenticity and you do verification. And immediately that product has been authenticated, it can never be in the market again. It's off the market. That's because it shows also now from the pharmaceutical company sees that, okay, batch number 1001 has been bought at location.
Oh, wow.
Rivers.
You also get to see location?
Yes.
Okay,
No,
because
but
you already
the
know that
companies,
these batches went to,
exactly,
for example,
the salespeople
Rivers
know.
or Port
So
Harcourt or
that's the supply
wherever.
chain. So the
Okay.
supply chain knows where their product is being taken to. That's where the advantage is that NAFDAC started this thing they call GS1. GS1 is a standard across the world of how to badge products. It's actually different from NAFDAC number.
Okay.
It's going to be a new number that is attached to every product.
Every product.
So in that number, it is location,
Yeah.
who produced, where it was produced, where it is at.
Yeah.
So automatically, a salesperson knows whenever he sees a ping on his dashboard that Indomie has been sold in, let's say, Adamawa with badge number 1005. He knows exactly, yeah. It went, okay, I sent my distributor to move it, and he moved 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and he knows that it arrived at that location. And when he sold, he understands what is happening. So now, with the blockchain, you can also start knowing the performance metrics of your salespeople. You can also start.
True that.
You can also start knowing
Okay.
how far your product has gone in the market.
Okay.
And that's where we used to say something like brand protection. You
Okay.
can protect your brand, so you can go away from counterfeits. You can go away from product penetrability.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for those insightful sessions. You brought it home.
Sure.
You brought it home.
Sure.
And I'm sure our audience actually enjoyed that.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned something about the fake producer in what's it called, in Festac, for example.
Yes.
And this ties back to user or consumer education,
Yes.
right? So how will that fake producer stop producing? So what efforts is blockchain doing, you understand, to ensure that, because I hear batching and I hear the scratch code, to ensure that that fake producer is no longer producing like the noodles brand you mentioned?
It's very difficult, right? To stop somebody that makes money and he sees that he makes money.
Yeah.
How will you convince that person to stop making money? It's very difficult. That's why early this year, we saw how NAFDAC went so everywhere trying to stop fake products. Of course, I just want to talk about this, right?
Okay.
I had an accident in 2022.
Sorry to hear about that.
So what happened is
just recently.
Yes, very recently. So I went to surgery and everything. I'm so scared of the the healthcare sector of Nigeria, right? Everybody is scared.
Based on your experience,
based on your experience, right? So I was so scared, but I believed in what people told me, that why don't you believe in what the healthcare sector, because we cannot keep saying that Nigeria is good, Nigeria is bad, but whenever it's time to test the system, we run away. Everybody was suggesting, why in another country doing
this. Yeah.
No, but I decided to do it in Nigeria, and I got a good health provider.
Great.
But one thing that I suffered was that I was infected. I was infected with a particular bacteria, and that particular bacteria can only be in my left leg. But
the accident caused the infection?
Yeah. No. It's another story why I got infected.
Okay.
But I have a particular infection, so the only antibiotics that can treat my infection is meropenem.
Okay.
Meropenem is an intravenous medication.
Okay.
So I can't swallow.
Okay.
So that means it's not everywhere. And it's very expensive.
Wow.
Like 9,000 just a cups. And it happens that I have to take 3 a day. And of course, I'm not a person that is very used to the hospital. In short, I ridiculed actually the medical field back in the days when I was a secondary school student. And I used to feel that those guys, they just cram. What's so special about them? I can use technology and actually know how to prescribe drugs. What is so special? But recently, God and Providence showed me that, okay, there is the necessity. There is actually the place of the medical practitioners.
Yeah.
So what happened is that the drug, meropenem, has to be intervened. That means they have to inject me
Yeah,
to
through
get
the
it in
vein,
so that
yeah.
it works. But do you know that Pfizer says that throughout last year, the most counterfeited drug was meropenem?
Oh, wow.
And it's there on
I can imagine why it
NAFDAC's
was.
website. So, and you can imagine now me how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So how many of those meropenem were counterfeit that entered into my system? So solving this problem
I
of
get that. Did you buy from a credible store?
No,
That's
no, no, no.
another
You
question.
can't.
You can't even say.
So
Because
when you're not
some of
checking,
them can't even
you
say.
exactly,
Yes.
because it's a huge business that you cannot. Now, sometimes I'm sorry to say it that a pharmaceutical store can actually mix it up, do
Yeah.
90% authentic drugs and 10% fake.
With or without knowing? What do you think?
Sometimes with or without knowing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
with
Because
knowing,
at
some
the end of
without
the
knowing.
day, it's somebody that is going to supply them those drugs.
Yes.
It's not as if they have to source. And when they source, they go to those markets that everybody else goes to. A big pharmaceutical store is going to end up at Obalende to pick his drugs.
Yeah.
There's nothing else they would do.
Nowhere
Because
else.
if you tell them to go to the manufacturers themselves, it's too expensive.
Okay, and also it depends if the supply chain, of course.
Supply chain, yes. Exactly. Yeah. That's where we'll come back to the supply chain. And it's also expensive for the manufacturer to start isolating which pharmaceutical company will I carry my products to, because they want to deliver in volume.
That's right.
And
okay.
Yes.
So I get that. So thank you
so
much. And so tying back to how we can curb fake producers from producing, I think like you mentioned, is about the user education.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
but
yes.
since you started doing this, what has been the success rate in terms of when a user gets a product and they have the luxury of time, to scan the blockchain code? I mean, for lack of better words, right? How successful has it been? Because sincerely, apart from there's one particular drug, there's a malaria drug, right? So yes, because I need to ingest it, and because I'm very particular about my health, but not everyone is.
Yes, not everyone is. So now it boils down to not only us, the tech guys.
Yes.
Because we all what we see is we're behind our computers, seeing our codes, feeling that problem must be solved.
And it's solved.
Then we have the medical practitioners or the providers. We have the manufacturers.
That's right.
We have the pharmaceutical companies themselves. We have the user. So why will a user be so concerned about which paracetamol the person injects, while he's shivering right now? What he wants is that pharmaceutical, that
That's
paracetamol.
it. Just give me.
And again, at his or her location, they are sure that Med Plus is credible. So anything that is on the shelves of Med Plus, for Christ's sake, why do I have to check it? Why do I have to?
That's right.
Yes. Why don't I just inject it?
Yeah.
But because the world has become what it is, and all of us are looking for profit, it would be wise for you to go a little more extra mile to start
as a consumer,
checking what you are consuming, especially somebody like me. I'm now concerned. Like it goes directly to my vein.
Yes.
So I have to be very concerned.
Can change your whole genetics.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for this wealth of knowledge. Sincerely, I have gained a lot, and I am so sure that our viewers that stayed up until this point also gained a lot.
Sure.
So this is still the Pioneer STEM Show. Keep it locked down. We'll be right back after this short break. This is still the Pioneer STEM show, and if you're just joining us, thank you for joining. You missed quite a lot, right? Today we unraveled as much as we could blockchain. And of course, finally, Mr. Emmmanuel gave his words. If you want to become a blockchain developer, what you need to start learning. It's a different ball game. It's not like it's Python or you're doing AI or you're doing, machine learning or you're building an application. It's so different. But one thing I like about blockchain that I've also heard about in time past and also now is the fact that it can authenticate items.
Yes. It's incredible.
So you were backstage.
Yes.
So
I learned
what
so much.
you learned so much
I mean,
too.
a few minutes
Yeah.
ago, I knew very little.
Yeah,
about
that's
blockchain.
it. We're just talking about it. Oh, we
Yeah.
know very little. And now we have a guest